A wonderful warm welcome to the second episode of Today and Tomorrow. Today we delve into a topic that's not just transforming the future, but is unmistakably reshaping our present. Across every continent, in every industry, and within our very homes. Artificial intelligence, AI, is no longer a fringe science or a distant tomorrow. It's here, it's now, and it's changing everything. And I'm very happy that we are doing this episode together. And therefore, hi Dieter, hi Sanjay. Nice to have you here again. So, what is your opinion on AI? Where do you use it in your daily life?
I already used it for quite a while. I mean, when ChatGPT was announced, everybody was so surprised, but um, I, do, I didn't understand it really because AI was there before. We are using translators every day by now. Do use it every day, or we also uh, we audio tape and transcribe our interviews. Of course, that's all AI, and we had it before, and we could see by the day almost how these features improve. So that's nothing new, and we are already using it. So ChatGPT, for me in the beginning, was just brilliant PR. But now comes the critical point because now, of course, it marked a huge leap forward in the technology, but now they slowly start rolling out the features that make it that transform it into a practical tool. And so the big changes are first to come, and they will be big, I'm sure.
Sanjay, how about you? How do you use AI? How do you use the tools we have? Dieter was talking about the big changes.
Yeah, the game changing moment was it depends on how to acquire knowledge. That was the historical part. The historical part is when I used to do research when I was 20, I had to go to a library, look into books. And then came a big game changer, Google and search engines, and they suddenly helped everybody. You just type in a keyword and you get 100,000 websites.
And very important, copy and paste because it was very easy to get it into your work.
Yeah, but the problem was that you still get 100,000 links and you had to still do research. So the third evolution is now ChatGPT because ChatGPT solved three big problems. The first thing was you just type in a question and you get an answer. The second is it is totally free if you do not want to use GPT-4 or the enhanced version. Everybody from a small kid in the world to a multimillionaire are able to use it. And the third thing is, and that is what really shocked the world, is the answers are really quite good for a machine. So these things together mark a new part, a new point in our history, because this is the game changing new world we are facing. We can ask questions and we get more or less qualified answers.
Well, I fully agree, Sanjay, but of course, there's also a big danger connected to it. We all heard about and tried out the hallucination that is provided by ChatGPT. And of course, these machines are improving, but still, you can't be sure as if there is any hallucination. So, to proof check that the results really are correct and usable for you, this will be the big challenge in the future. So it's a shift from selecting to proof checking now.
Well, at the moment, we are talking about GPT, the GPT large language model. That's the model that ChatGPT uses. And as you said, you're totally right. The first thing is it is in ChatGPT only updated till September 2021. So anything that is new will not appear in the right way.
I I heard that's not true anymore because I think they connected it to the to search engines, so they now do get it. I think it's a few weeks, 2 weeks old now. This news that they are now fully access all search engines.
Exactly. The problem is it is still hallucinating because hallucination is part of the GPT model. And where I wanted to go with you together is there is a new large language model called Claude 2. And Claude 2 has reduced its hallucination. It's only under 0.1% hallucination. So even if ChatGPT is giving you web access, it is still hallucinating more than the newest large language model, Claude 2. And that is where I see the future in that these large language models will evolve. And maybe today we are talking about GPT, but maybe GPT is already stone old in my perception because new large language models will overcome the baby problems ChatGPT had.
If you talk about artificial intelligence, it all seems like GPT. There's much more to it. It is a big hype at the moment. We're all talking about, and since November last year, everyone realized there is something called artificial intelligence. But it's much older. It started in the 50s, and it's in our everyday's lives. As I said in the moderation, we have it to personalize our recommendations in shopping. We have it. With healthcare and cutting edge advancements in this area, speaking about diagnostics and so on and so on and so on. So it's really everywhere nowadays. And the big thing is to have the real, well, the way in the middle, to say it like that, to really use it right. Because what Dieter was talking about, and you added in, Sanjay, it helps us, and it has its hallucinations. But if you really look how it's trained with some data. If you have the free version of ChatGPT, you have the 175 billion parameters, but that's nothing compared to the knowledge in the world. So we're just in the beginning. And the thing is, I really see is very important to start that we help people realize two things. One thing, the AI may be right most of the time, but we must double check it, have the classical four eyes adjustment we use in everyday's word to have someone else look over it. Is it true or is it false? The most important thing is if it worked 30 times, the 31st time will be wrong.
And the problem is that the better these models or these tools are getting, the more complicated it will be to do the checking because yeah, it's much more difficult to find if there is a mistake.
And it's still just math. It's still just adding stuff up. So you really have to add, you have to look, you have to check.
So, you know what, I 85% of my emails are being answered through an AI automatically because I taught the AI how to answer it. And those who are listening to us, maybe two tools would be interesting for them to see. It's not only ChatGPT, as you correctly said. The first thing is they should look at Write Sonic. Write Sonic goes directly into your email, for example, and integrates into your workflow and makes my life much easier because it answers emails for me. And the second is perplexity.ai. And Perplexity gives me references and also helps me to deep dive into a topic. But basically, I would say that we have to differentiate what type of question we are asking. If we are doing, for example, in the school, as kids like to use ChatGPT, if they ask a mathematical question and they ask something like, do the figures with Pythagoras and all this other stuff, their AI is extremely good. As soon as you come to discuss about political stuff and other stuff, it will depend on who trained and on which data was the AI trained. And I think that we humans should control this part more than checking which AI is using it. We have to check that the data we are using is ethically correct. And that will be a big responsibility on which data, also in the future, will AI be trained. And if everybody has his own AI, we'll have a lot of different answers to the same question.
I couldn't agree more with you. I'm myself a big fan of Perplexity, to be honest. I use it every day. It's a wonderful tool to search for information. And to be honest, even with ChatGPT and the connection to Bing, it's still much better. But when we talk about AI that answers emails or writes us stuff or searches the internet for informations, we still talk about, let's call it baby AI. There's much more to it, and the most prominent thing at the moment is, which I realize and I always see in my daily business, is there is not really a regulation for AI, and I think that's a big problem.
Well, it depends. When we here in Europe, we have a tendency to overregulate and uh, to see. Well, the Medienanstalten, the regional media regulators, they just issued a call for a survey, and the title for it is the risks of artificial intelligence for our democracy. Well, of course, there are risks like that, but that's the wrong approach. At least they should have said opportunities and risks, because if you only look at the risks, you block all the other options out, and just to avoid the risks, and you will not be able to unfold the new possibilities to its full potential, and that's what we need to accomplish. Of course, we do need regulation, but we have to be very careful to what we are regulating and how we are regulating it, because it should be an enabler and not a, well, the opposite.
I totally agree with you. The most, dominating thing in my mind is the EU is working on the AI Act. It was holded back a little bit because it was too harsh, and now I'm a little bit afraid of what they are doing and what they are planning. For everyone out there who does not know what this is, the European Union is working on an idea, on a concept, on a regulation how to work with artificial intelligence. They differentiate between very powerful AI, like things that regulate the infrastructure, like traffic and everything, and small AI like ChatGPT and Co. Where you're talking about, for example, telling this picture was made with Midjourney or whatever. But still, we don't really know what's going to happen, and I'm a little bit afraid with history in mind that we will stop a game changer, how we started to call it, from evolving.
Well, and you see what they did with the general data protection thing. I mean, it is, the idea is great, but they choose a wrong approach. So everybody is struggling with it to compile with to accept cookies and to issue warnings and stuff like that. So it makes things completely complicated. Instead of using or choosing an approach that makes it easier. So for us, digital tools have become a lot more complicated than they should be and they could be, and they are in other countries and other markets. Of course, uh, they are uh, uh, advancing a lot faster than we, because they don't have these issues to keep in mind and be in big trouble with always with one foot.
Well, I think that you won't be able to find a solution. I was invited to a conference where the European Union was talking, the ministers were talking about AI, and they wanted an input from external advisors like I am. And we were, it took hours to just discuss what is AI, because the problem is, if you regulate AI, it could even affect your dishwasher, because your dishwasher is using the right amount of water after analyzing the data in your dishwasher. So the thing is, uh, I think we'll have to differentiate between dangerous AI, maybe in atomic power stations, or if not now in power, maybe in solar panels and so on, and daily use AI, which is not so risky, because otherwise, electronic cars, you know how much AI is already inbuilt in these cars. And if you start regulating it on such a broad issue, then you will have to really be very careful that you don't over regulate, as Dieter just said.
And we have another problem that is with the way legislation is formulated and made. So we already have most of the relevant regulations and laws in place, but they are designed for the analog world. Instead of putting them there, hey, we have to go for the meaning. That's what we try to accomplish with it. And everything new that comes when we don't are not aware yet is automatically covered under this. This would make things a lot easier, but of course, the things are not laws are not written like that. So uh, in the reality, you can't appeal when you filed a wrong tax declaration because it's not expressive verbs mentioned that cutting and pasting or whatever is not mentioned. So you suddenly it's not applicable anymore. So you can't do anymore what it was designed for. And that's a huge problem we have, and we really have to solve that because this will become much bigger if we don't act.
I really think we just need some kind of framework where we can operate the artificial intelligence inside. Because even as we started, and as I asked you what AI tools you're using, every one of you too just taught about a different aspect of AI. It's so difficult, as Sanjay said, to really define what is artificial intelligence. Where is it, to be honest, where is it not? So we need a framework, not a law, not a hard regis- um, real hard regulation, but we need a framework we can operate in, where experts can use and evolve, where tools can evolve. Because as we look at tools like ChatGPT or Claude, as you taught about, Sanjay, every day something happens. It's getting better, it's getting smarter, it's getting connected to the internet, it has new functionalities, it's getting a little bit more, let's call it human in apostrophes, but it's changing, and we can't regulate such a market that's changing so fast, because regulation is slow, as you talked about, Dieter. It has a history. And a new regulation, a new AI Act would take, again, 2 years or something like that to just be upgraded. And then AI is far away from the reality of the last one. So I think we need a different approach for regulation, that we can combine human and machine in the best way possible.
But the situation is very complicated for a lot of players. As when you were talking about the framework and the speed, artificial intelligence is advancing and changing and becoming better. Now the writers in Hollywood they finished their strike because there was a solution. The solution is that the Hollywood studios are not touching artificial intelligence for 5 years. The writers can, but not the studios. So basically, I don't think this will happen, but this could very well be the end of the studios because if they don't go with the advancement of the technology and don't include it in their work, uh, they might be disconnected. So that's another very complex issue we are faced with, and we have to be aware of. And yeah, just adding to the complexity, I fear.
I would just like to say one last thing from my side is innovation for Europe needs freedom. And you cannot create innovation if you already regulate something in a way that kills or breaks innovational steps and ideas. So what I would recommend for the EU is not to put a fine, not to put money behind it and say, if you still use it, you're going to be punished. Because then the innovation will go away from Europe to the US, to China, to India, and to Brazil and other countries. And if we are responsible in Europe, I would recommend that there is not a fine. Maybe there are other ways, maybe a higher tax or something like that, but not a punishing those who are using AI to innovate and bring Europe on the top of the world.
And as you see, dear viewers, dear listeners, it's very hard to think about a real way of regulation. But what do you think? We have talked about we need experts to really think about how could AI be regulated. And maybe you have an opinion. Let us know in the comments, write us a mail, let us know however you want to how you would wish the artificial intelligence to be regulated, that it still can be the game changer it is. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was episode 2 of Today and Tomorrow. We say thank you for being with us. Thank you, you two, for the wonderful discussion. And I'm looking forward to the next episode.